the beautiful representation. A European artist would give detail and perspective. In an already established tradition, the man would be framed against the immensity of the ocean, the terror inherent in its power dwarfing while elevating him, his status as heroic aesthete secured by his facing down the sublime force of nature from this stony crag. His forehead would be glimpsed in oblique profile, set against the elements, his shoulders set back in the broad tailoring of the greatcoat, his chin a jutting banner to the wind. In a newer tradition, he would begin to merge with the ha, the confidence of his form deliquescing as sprays of light from an entropic sun fought through the haze. His very boundaries dissolved into his natural surroundings, a suggestion of a figure, dematerialized. In the very newest, he might appear as the Japanese version of himself, transposed and abstracted by a hemisphere. This character carried documents in the inside pocket of his coat representing his entire family. His full name? Charles Howard Hinton. He was known to intimates by his middle name, Howard. Had always been Howard to his parents, Margaret and James. James, even now, occupying his thoughts as he pondered distances travelled. He had been in Japan 5 years, his father dead some 17. How lives played out over their course. How might he redraw his own? He had suffered a fall, but rebirth was a possibility afforded him twice now, a possibility not afforded his progenitor. His father, a philosopher highly regarded by society and academy alike for his thoughts on issues as distinct as domestic life, the relations between science and religion, the physiological functioning of pleasure and pain, the need for self-sacrifice above all. His father, James Hinton, a surgeon to educate and to feed his sons and daughters, a philosopher to nourish himself, great metaphysician, subject of biographers and obituarists. Howard was the inheritor of a once illustrious name. How past that was, and the reputation attached to it. In his youth, Howard had burnished this reputation, conscious of its worth, had edited collections of his father's work and written prefaces for appreciations. He had published his own work on mathematics and its higher applications, had begun to enjoy a certain amount of success, to make a name for himself, had secured notices in Mind and other journals, winning praise from certain of his father's peers, an appointment to a teaching post at Uppingham College. If he had not yet, by the time of his exile, piqued the interest of biographers, his life had been on that trajectory. A jinriksha came rattling along the harbour wall, pulled by a burly Japanese in straw raincoat, in the custom of the rural workers in the surrounds of old Edo. In the trap, Howard's oldest son, George, was seated alongside a black, lacquered chest. George sat upright and alert, his fine blonde hair slicked to his scalp in the rain, his eyeglasses circles of opaque steam against his rosy face. Howard noted with pride the manner in which the boy had taken to responsibility. George was the least physically able of Howard's 4 sons, but faced the world with a determined efficiency. Where he sensed disadvantage, he prepared methods for overcoming it. George had insisted upon travelling guard with the box, knowing its value to his father. He dismounted. Howard paid the shafu, and together the 3 unloaded the box, placing it carefully on the harbour side. The arc had been bisected, his career interrupted. He had been exiled. He had written to his publisher at the time of the shame that had befallen him since his trial, shame such as he would wish on no man, and had communicated his departure for work in distant lands, to a mission. He had not corresponded further with his publisher in the intervening years, but had continued to write. While he now believed the direction of his earlier thought catastrophic, he was able to consider that he had found ways to think anew these difficulties by dramatizing them, making of them stories.